5 minutes of third period. It's ridiculous how good he is. Ridiculous. But Brock Besser has been in the territory to rebuild some of that fanfare and that stock of his. Dollar amount seems fine. I don't think $8 million is out of Besser's realistic asking range. I think he could be fine with getting $8 million. It's just the years. He wanted to be a Canuck. He wanted to be a long-term guy. But with Vancouver struggling the ways that they have, and with Brock Besser, right? I don't know. He's a smart guy. He gets himself in the right areas, and he has a lethal wrister. Even against Columbus, we saw, and we give this guy time and space. He can beat a goaltender with no problems. He doesn't necessarily need the foot speed to do that, but then again, I've been one of the main people here on YouTube that has been criticizing his foot speed for most of the season. Hey, he's slow. He can't produce much, and he doesn't fly down the wing like he used to. And whether or not you think he's slow now, where does that take him in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, let alone 7 or 8 years? So would Brock be a beneficial contributor to a hockey team at that time? Brock is obviously smart, and he has adjusted multiple parts of his game as his career has continued. But foot speed is a really important part of today's NHL. $8 million I already thought was stretching it a little bit, because that's like the JT Miller dollar amount, and Miller is a 100-point caliber guy, but I get it, it's a different situation because Miller is older and he signed his contract a lot further back, and so maybe it's not apples to apples now, isn't it? But still, do the Vancouver Canucks muster up the years to give Brock the reason he wants to stay? I don't know. And then for Pia Suter, you could have the exact same conversation in the opposite way. Hey, Pia Suter was already kind of a steal at $1.6 million, like the Vancouver Canucks signed him to on a 2-year contract 2 seasons ago. But he has been so good at Vancouver. Pia Suter has 42 points on the year and 22 goals. This guy has been the first-line center ever since Pettersson and Keto have gone out, and Suter steps up. He plays better when he's given more of a role and more of an opportunity. He got 24 minutes against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and he had 3 assists in that game. That is something that we had not expected out of Pia Suter, even though we always knew from last year the guy was a very versatile player. You could play him on the 4th line in a shutdown role. You could play him on a top 6 line with Miller and Besser as a puck facilitating, playmaking guy, and he would fit right in like a glove. He is so versatile. He does everything he needs to do. He does everything you ask him to do, and then some. And then you say, hey, you got no hero, you got no beauty. You got to be on the first line. He goes out there and scores. Like, what's the point that he got right now? 8 points in his last 5 games? He's ridiculous. The guy's averaging 2 points a game in his last 4 games. A goal and an assist versus New Jersey, 2 assists versus the Islanders, 3 assists versus Columbus, and a goal today against the Winnipeg Jets. This guy's making $1.6 billion a year, and he has elevated his game to another level. Here's the thing, though. If he goes back, if he is back, are you comfortable with just throwing Suter back into a 4th line role, or you want to give him a top 6 winger spot? You want to say, okay, our center core is going to go $1.6 million. If the guy comes back to Vancouver, he might take a discount, who knows? But realistically, with the way he's been performing this season and what he's shown off recently, there's no reason why Pia Suter can't get $4 million in the free agent market, or $5 million. Maybe even 5.5 if the team is willing to overpay for him. This has been a journeyman through and through, and Vancouver might have to pay a pretty penny if they want to keep this guy around. I know Thomas Drance had a hit on Halford and Brown a few weeks ago when he had said that Vancouver internally might feel like there's more of an avenue to bring the Suter back. Therefore, it's not really that big of a deal that he's unsigned at this time, and Brock Besser, there's more of a dire need to figure out what's happening there because you don't think you're going to be able to bring him back or something. There's a lot of in and out skeletal framework that the Vancouver Canucks have to work with and try to maintain in order to get both Suter and Besser back. These guys are so good that I think when you think about it, if Vancouver had the choice, do they want them back or not? Screw the money, would you want these guys back or not? They would probably say yes to both of them, especially with Brock Besser being as good as he's been lately. But then again, money talks. That's when you start getting into whether or not it's worth it. Pia Suter is really good, but if he goes from $1.6 million to $6 million, I don't know, maybe that's too much. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Yes, sir, it's Shooter. Stay or go. Yay or nay. Let me know in the comment section what are your thoughts about this process.
Out of bounds. I would do the same thing. Damn it. No, you cannot do the same thing because you are. All right, boys, you ready to play another game of OffSeason? I'm definitely ready. I love this game the most out of all the ones we played, so I need to win this. Well, I'm definitely looking for Joe. You need to say it ahead of time. Joe, can you change my name to Joe George? Oh, boy, not to forget to change it ahead of time. I didn't forget anything. Please never name this player for until you get muffled. Just because you defeated me on a left-based game. Oh, now it's left-based. Not meant it was a two-man skill-based game like this one. Respect. I don't care for what you have to say. Our goal is to finish. Winning this game. That's good for us. Don't let player 4 tilt you, okay? Let's see what you got. Definitely. I don't want to try anything too risky, so I'll just shoot my ball up to the back. That was a pretty average turn. Starting already? If you want to go like me, then you have to take risks. Well, I'm definitely capable of taking risks. Watch me. I'm curious. What in the world is the shot, Bill? What in the world are you players doing? All right, it's time for Steve Donald to make a statement. Like Barack, he was playing the fifth. Damn! Jesus Christ, Donald. How do we mess up what you call a safe shot? How pathetic are you? Once again, that's a lot of talking player 4. Let's see what you got. Well, I'm not done like Donald and Joe. I would be smart to take a safe pass without messing things up. It's kind of hard to mess things up when you have the advantage between everyone else is going to be doing. Well, I will continue to play a safe so I can completely hold on. I'm not going to say it about that. I'll never say it. It's good for you. You have a way of switching out what players are doing. Game catch is free. It's too early for the street riding. It's too early for me to be talking to them. I'm just going to focus on myself here and make something great happen. Watch this. Bam! When you ended up to stop talking to Donald, you can find out some big I told you that I don't need to do that simultaneously. It's still out just an instant style. That's essentially the same shot the Rock did you instead of something special. But all of a sudden, you're shouting something special. Because I'm going for it. Respect. Well, I guess I think I'm getting off pretty decently. Only 3 attempts for the big goal. Yeah, that's the same time. Well, there's not much I can do. But you can put more attention. Just get better at the game. The Rock usually expands. Good job, Don. I still have to offer good friends and list. It's a scare thing. Okay, what's your strategy here? I need it. Don't get my way. Well, that's not good benefit. You want to do it. Oh, good. I got you there. Go to the kitchen here now. Since you got this girl, get on here. Let it happen. Those guys are the ones who do it. Seriously, those guys are the kids. Congratulations. Yeah. All I do is that I just respect it and make sure that set the goal to the top. So building the shot like that is easy, but you shot like this goes, or that really goes. So excuse me, okay, so I guess that includes the first hole. It's about that because Donald is back, the 5 of us to a first hole. Shut it! It's not about how you start, but rather how you finish. Yes, it is the mentality of course. Let's see what you got done. It's looking promising. And once again, my analysis is correct. Donald is back. This is the reward of respect. Well, unfortunately, the doctor is not going to be now, like I said, this is getting really not known, but whatever, this is how you're going to do it. Well, so calling the work to make this cross. Don't think you're good now because you're doing something bad. Once again, excuse me, mother, make drivers something. For real, believe it, you do. The lifetime I don't even go to something. Stop today. Why can't you tell you to do it when you keep acting like this? Stop it so don't disconnect to the goal. Don't worry about player 4 guy. I want to George Gavin. I will replicate what you did since that's my only option. Wait, what? Are you serious right now, bro? You're doing anything off the hole. Why do you have to target me? I'm not targeting someone's trash like you. I'm just replicating what the Rock did. And that's perfectly fine, Joe. I'm listening to the same thing. Both the owners agree with it. Almost like you need to think. I'm curious to see what happens to Donald and I with return for Rock. Can we get it off? Well, I guess we'll have to answer to it. Hurry up and mess things up. Well, I'm going to put it a little less than full power than my speed ball that I got to go. I guess you need to get off after all night. And you guys can think about it. Nobody cares about it. If you all on support. I'm a 350 impossible, so you can place things down, I guess I think you all wrong. Not a bit. You were waiting to give me the ability to push myself. Okay, I don't need to push you guys off to display my greatness. Well, you just happened to be in my way player 4, so I got to go to damn. That's an amazing shot, Joe. Hell, it's super productive if you ask me. Yeah, player 4, you think kind of screwed me off. I'm very sure that I was in this game regardless of your guys. That's a good shot, Donald. Thanks, Joe. I'll definitely be there's so much insight. Well, I've got to change the session. Well, okay, I see the options. You have to take that, but I will call some something. Good job. What's my goodness? What the hell? I think he's losing a Donald. Like hell, I started to crack, and eventually he will come around after the finish of getting spanked and called in your friends. I told you, I'm not getting spanked in this game. Well, the score will say you're getting spanked once this hole is finished up. I highly doubt that. That's a good shot, Joe. We'll all be finishing up the hole in our next turn, huh?
Yeah, except for player 4, though.
I'm being toxic. What is this behavior?
We're just matching your
Damn
energy.
it, how do I mess that
This is
up?
what happens when you try being toxic.
Oh, really
So
now?
does George on shotgun carriers.
Don't let that happen, Donald. Just don't let it tilt you. Yeah, we're like player 4. You guys are starting to talk too much. You talk too much. You literally tell them that's the Donald's trust. You guys should be humble. They don't listen to you tell them that you stay humble. So like that's I'm going to play up. Donald, so yeah, stay humble.
All right, well, I'm looking at that shot up. Let's see if it's true.
I guarantee that you'll be in last place, Donald.
Go to the second hole.
Don't let the time go down. What did I tell you? I told you that you would be in last place, Donald. So that and
This is how things get loaded. It's fine, just make it easy.
then I like you. Well, okay, that's a good thing.
Thanks, you all.
Let's do that. So that I'm going to you're going to get this place there. I can't think of anybody else. Everyone's going to get the
Back.
Well, like Donald, my turn was just as productive.
Okay, stop patting yourself on the back for just copying someone. The original, would you?
Okay, so what's your strategy here, player 4?
I'm just going to shoot the ball straight.
After all that you said, too?
Okay, this is the definition of meat riding, ladies and gentlemen.
Like hell it is. This is the definition of you being hypocritical.
For real.
Now that our first turn is over with. What's your approach here, Donald?
I'll probably just shoot straight ahead with 75% power or something. I don't want to try anything too risky.
No surprise there.
Here we go again.
Every individuals try risky things.
That was a good stuff, Donald.
Yeah, I wonder if I could have got it in had I put in full power, but I doubt it.
Yeah, who knows? I'm not going to try it.
Of course
I will once again replicate you, Donald, since your way has been working this entire time.
That's fine. Do what you got to do so player 4 doesn't win.
Seriously?
That, don't you dare do it.
Damn.
Once again, Joe, that was a super productive turn.
Good ref, Joe. That's karma for targeting you.
How is Joe targeting you?
For real.
He's literally from the ball. He couldn't do anything about it.
Well, if he was goaded like me, then he could.
All right, how about you focus on yourself, player 4?
Don't tell me what to
You're
do.
all the way back there while Barack and I are finishing up the hole.
Nice shot, guys. Let's see what you got, player 4.
Well, I'm just going to reposition myself so I can aim straight ahead without falling off.
Okay, for once, player 4. Not a bad turn.
I'll probably do the same thing since I can't aim straight without hitting the obstacle.
Okay, that was a trash turn, Joe.
Wait, what?
You should have done something more than that.
Instead of talking, maybe back in
Watch
good play.
What the hell was that? You are literally falling apart right now, player 4.
I don't think I need to say anything.
Then
That turn of yours just sums it up.
All right, let's see if I can prevent that from happening for my turn.
Newsflash, it won't. You're garbage. You're trash. You're not goaded.
Well, well, well.
I don't want to
Joe
hear
was
it
able to get the ball across even though he had a bad angle.
Trash.
What about you, player 4?
Stop rushing greatness. It takes time.
Seriously? Greatness? You're probably in last place right
Through
now.
that obstacle, it didn't do what I wanted it to do.
Then do better.
Now I have to spend 2 more turns finishing this hole up.
Seems like a skill issue to me.
Okay, shut the hell up, Donald. You're willing to skill it. There you go.
That was a solid shot, Joe. Thanks, Barack. You're pretty close to getting it in there, but it's still so next time.
Okay, well, I'm doing the same thing. What can I say? I'm goaded. I'm great. I'm amazing.
You expect praise when you literally just said that my weight is skill issue?
Nice shot, Joe. Well, yeah, you can skill it. Stop being so sensitive.
Well, I guess a lot happened. And it's only hole 3 Jesus Christ. Let's see what the score looks like now.
It's not about how you start, but rather how you think.
Didn't you say that only losers have that mindset?
So, I don't remember that.
Well, I do, but it's what's your approach to this whole job?
I'm just going to shoot straight with about 75% power.
No creativity.
I think I should be fine. And that's what happened. Good stuff, Joe.
Cared about practice. My back. It's about 50 shots in the back. And Joe had a productive turn.
Back. That's enough in driving. Okay, all right. I'm going to get it. Make sure this is double stuff for this to run.
Nice shot, Barack.
Once again,
Play it back in this part. You can bring this attention to first turn. Thanks, Joe. Let's see if Donald can try to come over and try to fix this.
I don't think I will.
That's right.
I can't stop. I'm also
That's a good shot.
so I don't feel that way.
All right, that's nothing. You got to play with each other. It's time for you all to watch my greatness.
That's what we all did players for. That was nothing special. Preaching, Joe.
That's what I'm in first place. Rather help you with time.
And you're further away from first place than Joe.
Back.
So why are you talking to him?
Jesus.
Well, did that answer your question? You will just stop me driving and look at the facts. Joe is trash, and I am goaded.
Don't worry about McDonald's. Watch me.
You're trash if you're staying through the rock.
Are you serious?
Joe's not over the shot.
I've heard enough from player 4.
For real.
It's time for all of us to focus up to the other team.
Let's talk more.
Well, how's that for action, player 4? My eventually is contention for first place. Now those are the facts. Watch me! What the hell?
Player 4 is officially lost. I told you guys. You didn't tell me. Expect me in the game of life.
Facts!
So I'll take your place. But risk to him to come along.
I wasn't 100% agree with that, Rock.
Right.
I think I didn't look at this shot, Joe. Keep it up.
Thanks, Tom.
Dang it, I put too much
cover that job. You're trash for knocking the news. People going to fall apart. I can't wait to see if this scoreboard gets scoreboard. They think they'll have reality players forward and spending each other. I'm not getting stuck in this thing. Damn it. The quicker you think reality players forward. Okay, he's right. Don't tell Joe to be quiet when he's spitting facts. Yeah, for real. He finished this whole off in 4 attempts. That's pretty solid if you ask me. Okay, well, somebody else got me. You're accepting me. All right, folks, let's hear the rock in his thing. What about you? Go to Jordan. We'll continue this down. Watch the boys. What do you mean? You're dominance in what, huh? Dominance in being trash? Why are you being dominant? How dare you ask that? You've been the one being toxic on the your first win ever was the risk, and we congratulate you, no problem. Then you became super toxic after that. Do you seriously have the audacity to say that kind of thing? Okay, shut the hell up, you're distracted. Play a fool, man. You're an absolute dog out right now. How do you not recognize that? I'm not driving. He's a strike. Let's just look at the sports. Seriously? How are you down that bad after only 4 holes? I got enough to do. You're to make up. I always don't have 100% agree with everything you've been saying. Or more than that, I'm not sure how you can focus on our business. I'm going to say. All right, fine. I'm just going to take the citizens so I can get a bag and get his face in the hand. Well, I'm sorry we talked about it. You want to get to the right time. Go ignore it. I want to get killed for you. I'm trying my best. At least I can make good progress. Want to do a good job? Oh, I'm sure I can learn a lot from someone who did last place. So maybe you should take notes. Don't really now. To my shot. I went and looked at a beautiful doorstep that was on the bench this whole next time. Well, I guess you and I are thinking of the same thing. Let's see what's good. There's nothing good coming from your end. It's water whatsoever. Fast on the ground. All right, it's going to be. Sorry, Joe, but I had to let you all in the way. Damn it. Are you okay with this, Joe? What are you talking about? Let's see it from my perspective now. What perspective? God, if there's someone who uses people to his advantage. It's me. Stop trying to manipulate these third forward. Nice one, Joe. Try that over the rock. And over. Seriously, had to put the rock ball from my shot. That is not keeping all that anybody keep the rock out of here. I'm tired of that guy's trying to screw me over. They're in your mouth, though. From all the meat bites you guys are doing. Shut it. Okay, so I guess I'm going to take the same approach as Donald. It's just crazy story. That's probably the part thing to do the rock. Player 4 this. Player 4 that. What the hell? Player 4. That was a good shot from him. Call me Joe Hurt. Yeah, he's officially losing it. Look on the line. I'm going to let the game. All right, well, I'm focused on myself and trying to injure myself up to this building. I look like you're trying to push me off. If I wanted to do that, then I easily could have done it. Get over yourself. For real. I think it's safe to assume that player 4 will no longer be making a comeback. That's about it. His chances were at .001 back then. They're definitely a flat 0 now. I'm still with this. I'm going to Jordan. Respect me. All right, still out with you. Watch the real time for the game. Show you how it's done. Finishing up the whole sport, that's pretty solid, Donald. Yeah, for real. I'm still struggling out here to handle myself in the short term. At this point, Joe, you can just do it the way you're talking about it. Yeah, well, I'm doing it like you said, Donald. That's the guard. Let's play. You're not getting it. Seriously. I'm expecting it. Well, I guess in the meantime, you guys can also want to continue to hold up the school. Nice one, Barack. This guy, you and Donald are doing pretty well for yourself. Thanks, Joe. Just for your shot. You'll probably complete this whole concern. I will be doing the same thing. Respect my break. Well, if you've been right about one thing, player 4, okay. You're right about taking 2 attempts. Yeah, right. The other stuff we're so wrong about. Excuse me. What do you think the story that looks like right now, player 4? I don't care what the score looks like right now. It's only 1-5. Maybe you should start caring more. I tell him. You're going to come back home to somehow, somewhere to come in this morning. You just need to complete this hole. So, this is the test. It's fine, guys. Let player 4 figure this out for himself. Okay, I only got that in the first place. I can still win. What the hell? Yeah, I don't know what to say, Donald. It's fine, though. Let's see what you got. Well, I'm just saying. I think I got to do this place. It's been over half an hour. This is the approach. Let's see how it works out. It won't work out. Well, correct me if I'm not looking like it worked out. I made a nice one, Donald. Thanks, Ron. The Donald definitely laid out the blueprint. Back. Watch this drive. Here we go again. It looks kind of promising. Whoa. Now, how that's what I'm talking about. I told you all that I made this comeback. I told you all the things to expect. Okay, I'm going to do it for what you just said, but I think I got a pretty good shot at it. That's only because you copied. All right, it's my turn now to make something special happen. Yeah, I don't think that was very special. Did anyone ask for your opinion? Player 4 doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut, I swear to God.
And Donald doesn't know how to stop doing weight, I swear to God. It's fine, Donald. Baseball is so again. All of it's time to see the score.
Player 4 is still far away from first place.
There's still 4 months left, Donald.
So what?
I don't think it's going to rock and it's so good. Well, this prediction is so that's it.
Okay, this home is all over the place, I feel like. I'm just going to get straight ahead and listen to the results.
Donald living for the results.
Of course.
Are you actually Donald?
Well, I'll tell you what, this game is completely home.
That's a pretty excellent shot. Nobody needs your commentary. Focus on making the so-called comeback you're going to make further. Well, it's your turn. So hurry up and mess up so I can get on with my turn.
Wait, what?
Yeah, what that shot for us?
Okay, they still have a chance. They will roll down.
Okay, that's not too bad. We don't use that. It's delusional.
It's not really delusional, but let's see what you do with your turn.
Okay, watch my brakes.
Here we go again.
Okay, it's not looking too bad.
Okay, what was that shot player for?
What are you talking about? That was such a golden shot.
You said my shot was average, and you literally accomplished the same as me. What do you have to say about that?
I thought it was disgusting. Don't count on Papa Joe. I was a good angle to get it into the Joe it down bad. Seriously? Don't count you out. You're pathetic. You don't get to talk to the board. Oh, really? Joe doesn't have anything to work with. I do. I'm very respectful.
All right, well, you're not making this comeback. It's the Rocket and the British playing in this club.
Watch this shot, Bill. You're not making it. Let's go nice. We're not having your second since I left the shot.
Shut it.
Damn it. What the hell? I didn't see what's going on. Let's see what you got there, Joe. And excuses all day. What are you supposed to do? Yeah, that's what you said. You can't do anything. Okay, try not to mess with shut up. There's 3 stupid eyes. Do you honestly think I was trying to mess up such a simple job like that? What you did last time?
Okay, I guess I'll be making it in next time.
Okay, nobody cares about you, Joe. You're super irrelevant.
Well, I guess we'll see the updated score real soon then, so we can determine who's relevant and irrelevant.
The scoreboard doesn't matter. Right? How many times do you keep saying that it doesn't matter?
For real.
You're literally downstairs with 3 holes left. You're done for. I'm going to George. I will make this comeback.
Not 100% sure what to do, but I think I'll aim straight with full power.
And that worked out. So much for the guy. You were giving the future how to go about this further.
Thanks, Joe. I've been going through it plenty of times, but at least I'm still in the case of the first place.
So, Leo, let me try to replicate that. Once again, copy and paste because you can sell it.
Wait, what?
That was just an unfortunate burn the rock. There was nothing unfortunate about that. The rock is trash. That's why we went out of bounds.
Okay, we're over your BS player 4. Hurry up with your turn.
Well, what is it? Looks like I'm doing a copy and try out with a quick win in my turn.
It's not answering the business. I've been trying to figure out why player 4 is sitting in the league.
Still you. All right, I'm going to just strategy too. Yeah, the things we have to build on this, these good meetings. First place. Really? Yeah, Joe, I'm really good at saying about that.
It's because he's not delusional. Once again, I will be in a prime position to finish this hole up next turn.
Don't celebrate again. You haven't won anything. All we need to make up on the last stop. Still to finish the first place, so I can't follow home.
That's a good shot, Ron.
There was nothing special about it. Stop having garbage out.
You really got something to say during every turn, huh? What's the deal? It takes you to shut your mouth.
You really want to know, Joe?
Yes, I did. Come.
I'm eating you out here. How about that?
Jesus Christ, player 4. You're focusing on the wrong person.
When this game is finished up, you will get strength. I assure you that I will be the winner of this game.
All right, well, I guess I got to start getting up to his line. Seems about right. Good luck, Joe.
Too strong of a shot over the cannon. See this again.
Nobody cares if you're feeling bad. Not even close.
But when I say I'm about to make the greatest comeback of all time, listen to me.
Hell no. Big hell to the nose.
You're doing well, Donald. Just don't let play 450 and everything moving forward is finished strong.
Well, I plan on doing this rest of the time. That was a great shot, Rob. You definitely made up that first shot and you had it down.
I do the same thing. Damn.
No, you cannot do the same thing because you are not as good as you think you are at this game.
You want to say comment, Joe?
Comment the rock.
Facts.
Yes.
So it's me, right? It's the one. I was able to get back to me. Nobody cares, Joe. Instead, watch my goodness.
I can do that shot with my eyes closed.
I tell you to do it.
Here I
The
go.
only thing you can do with your eyes closed is eating style. See, this is exactly why you're going to get strength once you get in player 4. It becomes strength, but I got it.
All right, it's time for the updated score.
Scoreboard doesn't have like a quarter cup. There's still 2 holes left.
Player 4. I was out to Richmond. Come back against Donald and the Rock.
Well, I didn't ask for a ticket from the last place loser like you. All right, I'm just going to play the safety so I can remain the first place once again. Okay, but what in the world is that shot?
It's not a big deal.
Problem. It wasn't the shot I wanted, but at least it's still something.
Stop
Rock player 4. Let me teach you some manners. The way my place felt like you thought I would be an absolute failure in life. So I'm good. You're tied for last place right now, aren't you? So what's the harm? Doesn't matter right now. Well, that shot was pathetic. Set up player 4. You're not making any comeback. I got to say, I'm super excited. What the hell? Okay, why are you excited, Brock? Because I know why. It's what every player for us. They're getting closer and closer to player 4, 6, 8. Excuse me. What more? You're going to be humble. That's definitely exciting stuff, Brock. What the hell is wrong with you? Nothing is wrong with you. Watch Papa Joe cook. Whoa, man. Watch Papa Joe cook. Look, bring the first down. Exactly. Just say it in the kitchen. Okay, you're not playing players you want. I'm tired of the BS drama. Watch my race chance. What race? I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Could be called a police and report player 4. Is that how it works, Rock? You can't report somebody just because they didn't even exist to begin with. What the hell is wrong with you, Barack? What the hell is wrong with you, Dick? Okay, how about you focus on yourself? You only need to watch it. You see you're about to do right now, so this is what you call some good next looking for. You're the first to defend the whole business. It doesn't matter if you're a pro. Turn the hell up, player. This is good, man. All right, let me try this strategy. Damn, you're a little crack. You're not allowed to play that big one. I don't know how you expect to make a comeback. I wouldn't get that though. It's crazy. You're not smart enough to recognize that comeback is important. All of them have enough of your nonsense player 4. It's not personally. I won't respond to you anymore until it's time to respect. Damn it! What is that nonsense? I should have finished this hole. The same exact thing happens with you guys. You guys are both fast, super frustrated, so the new stage goes over. Here I go. Once this game is finished, whoa. Okay, it's my turn to make something great happen once again. Respect. Did you guys do that? I didn't hear anything. What's up? Seriously? Ignoring me? How about you respect? I just haven't made stuff. I'm so good if you understand. And just like that, we're moving on to the last hole. Well, we got this game in the bag. Player 4 is getting its face protection into the last hole. I guarantee it. All right, it's fine, but no one's there. I'm sitting strong with it. It might look complicated, but it's easier than it looks in my opinion. So nobody has to do it. So shut up. If you listen to this game video, you know the third place. Don't worry, I'm just going to see the dog. That's an average status. Why are you still talking about that hole? Pretty good shot, Ross. Look at the next. Pretty good shot, you said. It definitely is. Big smile, and that's the first place to not do that. The roof is off the chart. No, it's not. Some people keep helping for the scheme. I think the first you landed is good is the longer way. If you landed a bit like this, I believe you can just shoot straight and give it the whole system. Well, you would be right with it. Maybe I can bounce off an option. Who knows? For me, though, I'm just going to hit with an option so I can get the same result. The best way is the best way. And you got where I am. Right, Madonna. That's enough to be right. It's really not time to go to the girls to say you all that for all of the life of the first place and all that. Okay, you can live in the that's the thing that's often the idea. How is this good? Okay. So what do you think about that, Baron? All right, what did you do? You're just going to leave brain cells so you won't have any left on player 4 right now. You see yourself, though. Whoa. Nice one, Baron. That was a sneaky cut shot. Let's go. So we get ball on the ground. Let's see if I can match your level. Okay, what's the strategy? Thinking I can bounce off that off and put it in the middle of the group. Well, I guess you reach the other side, but you need to put it in less power so you won't beat yourself out of bounds. That was a nice attempt, Joe. I seem like you complete the hole here. You're trash at this game, Donald. You're not good. How about you watch me then? I'm not sure if you put enough power into that shot, Donald. It's going to be still the best to do it. There's no chance you're completing the hole. It's super close. Wow, you really missed the first stage. Seriously, I told you to say, watch the gap. You were actually player 4. Back. Back. If you're not seeing the scoreboard in big Spain. Back. Seriously, I didn't remember how I just called it off. Don't worry about it too much, Joe. The most important thing is that player 4 will be the winning. I still have to give it up. I don't know. To stop the goals for long, so you can feel better about your percentage. Well, not once. I told you before. We will be having 3 spanking sessions. One in the game of life and the child. One is going through the first decision happening to them. And one is this. It's hard to look at the other schools and not get that first experience. Hopefully,
are very eerie indeed. That said, it's always the scary stuff that piques our interest the most and leaves us intrigued, even if it makes falling asleep a little bit difficult. So, gather around the fire and settle in as we dive right into the top 5 previous locations in Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Starting off, we have Baldur's Camp, a large ancient Nordic ruin with an indicative boulder. Upon first setting foot in this place, your attention will immediately be drawn to the large blue light emanating from a pile of stones, or cairn, at the center of the room. Around these rocks lie the bodies of 3 bandits, as well as some of them left behind chanting here. Clearly something's not right. Thankfully, not too far away, resting comfortably on a pillar, is a journal that belongs to one of these fallen men, and it tells a bright tale. Evidently, the dead bandits we find here used to be members of a much larger clan, operating as a Lost Night hideout. But for whatever reason, these folks fled their room and eventually ended up taking shelter in this cave. Their first few days passed uneventfully. However, soon, the author of this diary, Arceus, noticed that his companions started acting, well, weird. They became sloppy and slow in their movements and speech, eventually growing totally unresponsive, just staring off into the void all day. Needless to say, Arceus was quite frustrated, seeing as he was left the only one hunting for food, but just wrote it off as his buddies being sick or the victims of some strange illness. However, in his final writings, it becomes clear that what was possessing Arceus' friends was more than a mere disease, and he too seemed to be gripped by the same force. The last paragraphs of his journal read as follows, quote, "We are not alone. I can hear him now. Someone speaking in my mind. Bold, powerful. Boldir, that's the name. He wants something from us. Needs us to stay for the magic to work. I tried to run. Can't. Just like that. Rain jumped first, onto the cairn. That's what Master wants. Blood, sacrifice, power to live again. His magic, I can feel it pulsing in my blood. He's draining us. We'll serve him soon. Our bodies, our souls, just like the others. They're waiting. It's my turn now." End quote. Indeed, this location, as will quickly be proven, is possessed by Boldir, a spectral dragon who feeds on the souls of the living, using his powers to enthrall his victims and lure them into taking them in common, specifically by jumping onto this pile of stones. After fighting our way through the rest of the dungeon, fiercely defended by the enslaved spirits of Boldir's pack victims, we can finally confront this evil entity in somewhat of a climactic boss battle. And if victorious, the Dragonborn can ensure that he never again claims another life. Fittingly, after Boldir's defeat, the blue light we saw earlier will fade away, and the pile of stones will be toppled, reduced to rubble, signifying that Boldir's reign of terror is over. Next on our list, we journey to the Rift, specifically Redwater Den. It's a large scuba den, publicly hidden beneath a seemingly isolated and insignificant cavern. When you enter, you'll be prompted to try some of this establishment's custom Redwater scuba, which is apparently better than the normal stuff. A look around at any of the clearly sick addicts here should be more than enough to warn you that doing so is a very bad idea. But if you're unfazed and decide to purchase and consume a bottle anyway, you'll pass out, only to awake in a cage, guarded by a pair of vampires, talking about drinking your blood. If you just wait around in the cell for too long, they'll actually eventually kill you. So you're going to want to break it. And once you do, a number of journals left behind will allow us to piece together what's really been going on here. This whole operation was started years ago by an ancient vampire named Venar's Bolden, who came to Skyrim in search of the Blood Spring, a mythical fountain that's said to produce a liquid capable of giving his kind infinite power. Venar's quest soon led him to the Rift, where after weeks of digging and searching, he found the Blood Spring, though was soon disappointed to discover that its waters didn't give him the powers he had hoped for. Although not all was lost. Some of the vampire lord's followers found out that the liquid was still incredibly addictive and caused frequent users to become disorientated, lose their memories, and often pass out. So the Norris, being the clever fellow he was, built a scuba den above the fountain and mixed the bloodstream waters with his product. So when unsuspecting patrons come in for their fix, they grow disoriented and become easy prey for the vampires, who just keep their victims constantly under the spring's influence, effectively turning them into permanent forces that will never resist. Those addicts we saw earlier in the den were all being feasted upon by Vargas and friends. I guess they did find their infinite source of strength after all. Thankfully, with a strong stomach and a little bit of elbow grease, we can put an end to this horrifying scheme. Given it number 3, on the island of Soulstone, the Dovahkiin can stumble upon Whitebridge Barrow. It's a centuries-old ancient Nordic burial tomb that's likely been the home of some very dark experiments. You see, relatively recently, 2 dark elf siblings, Boromar and Servo Brenda, set up shop here in order to conduct some research on sometimes dated populations of albino spiders. Using a special machine that you created called an infusing chamber, after months of experimentation, they were able to create a number of new spider species, infused with various elements, including fire, frost, and even illusion. They were wildly successful. That was until Burlawar, the sister, began hearing strange change coming from below the ruins. She felt there was something of great power beneath her, and slowly went mad trying to figure out what it was. The insanity came with paranoia that drove her to lock her brother Servos in a set and eventually killed him before completely losing herself and going almost primal. When we enter the barrow, we'll find the bodies of innumerable creatures who will likely came here in search of loot, but were instead slaughtered by the modified spiders. A couple of bandits are still alive, but have been enslaved as mind-controlled puppets by a few of the illusion around and will attack on sight, which is quite terrifying to cast me. No one respels this still alive, and can be encountered in one of the chambers, though she'll be hostile, offering no dialogue. All this is in progress. On Your Body is a journal, which reveals the story of this location, and another diary can be looted off of her brother's body, which is filled with a case of diamond that fills in any gaps. Oh, and that chanting which drove the woman crazy in the first place, it turns out to have been a word hole, and is sealed off room that the Dragonborn can access if you pull the right levers. Once you clear the location of enemies, you'll be able to craft your own spiders using that infusing chamber the siblings once created. Consider it your reward for conquering this nightmare of a dungeon. 4.5. Northwest of Fort Angel sits the abandoned prison, a once mighty stronghold that housed some of the Empire's most dangerous enemies, now a pile of rubble, slowly being washed away by the river it sits on, and inhabited by the ghosts of her former inmates and guards. A few scattered notes, written by both the fort's former prisoners and staff, explain their unfortunate final moments leading up to their deaths so many years ago. One day, an especially brutal storm was brought in the region, and seemed poised to completely flood the entire prison. The guards were given orders to save themselves and evacuate, leaving the people in their cells to drown. Alas, the prisoners had a plan of their own. They knew the Imperial troops were in the process of failing and very disorganized, so staged an uprising, overpowered many of the guards in a desperate bid to make an escape via the sewers. We're unsure how many, if anyone, survived this event, but it appears that amidst the chaos, as some soldiers and prisoners clashed while others just made a run for it, most ran out of time, and the structure was flooded before the inmates could escape or the Imperials complete their evacuation. Now, in a horrible irony, decades after their bodies have rotted, this prison continues to trap the restless spirits of its former occupants. And finally, last on the list, the Boombold excavation site is yet another ancient ruin. But it's not spirits or Draugr that make this place so creepy. It's the people who came after and what happened to them. Some time ago, the world was discovered by the vigilance of Stendhal, who believed it may harbor some artifacts valuable to their cause, and began work excavating the site and picking up what they floated. However, slowly, something began to go very wrong. An older consort named the North, who was hiding somewhere within the ruins, began poisoning their minds, secretly using her magical prowess to ever so slowly transform the vigilance of Stendhal into her personal zombies. The process wasn't by any means important, praising the North as some sort of deity. When we arrived, it'll be too late to save them. The vigilance of Stendhal had been charmed, so to speak. They've been completely enslaved by the creature, and will be very hostile to the player. After fighting our way through this dungeon, as we make our way to the last room, we can face off against the vigilant for ourselves. And after we defeated her, any remaining vigilance of Stendhal still under her influence will simply drop dead. Her spell has been broken at a terrible cost. And with that, we are going to wrap up. My top 5 previous places is the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Which of these locations gave you the chills? And what one current setting should I tackle next? Leave a comment down below. As always, my ratings are very much appreciated. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Save and subscribe to Canada, US, Mexico, Philippines, and other mobile. Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Dave here. And Skyrim's a game that offers the player the chance to wield quite a fair variety of weapons, from axes to bows to swords. It seems there's a near endless number of options to choose from when it comes on deciding how to pick out your foes in the Elder Scrolls 5. Getting close to any weapon is a fairly straightforward process. So long as you're the appropriate level, you just need to get lucky with some loot, have enough gold, work some crafting magic, or complete the necessary quest to get that blade of stats you've been hoping for. That said, Skyrim also boasts a handful of unique special weapons that acquiring isn't so easy or obvious. Some of these hidden items are incredibly overpowered. Others, well, not so much. But I find the items themselves and the process that we go to acquire them to be incredibly fascinating either way. So without further ado, we'll be taking a look at 5 secret, unique weapons in the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. Starting off, we have the glass bow of the Stag Prince. Now, the way to get this weapon is almost as unique and confusing as the object itself. You see, the bow of the Stag Prince can only be found in the inventory of a number of versions named Famous Sylvain. Famous himself is an enormously shady character in his own right. He can only be met during the hours of 12 and 6 a.m. at an abandoned location known as the Ramshackle Trading Post on the island of Solstheim. If you arrive on scene before or after those hours, Mr. Sylvain can't be met. It's strange. When you are in his presence, he dons an awkward mix of armor, Wearing a pale large helmet and an empty chest plate. Please, this guy's really weird. Anyway, you're possibly now thinking, okay, great, he's a merchant. So I can just walk up to him and purchase the Stag Prince boat, right? Well, it's not so simple, because Bethesda seems to have messed up when you were assigning his elf as AI packages, and you will actually have the boat equipped when you need it, meaning it won't be for sale. Plus, he's an essential NPC, so the sole method to get this item is to unlock the perfect touch perk from the pickpocketing skill tree, which lets you pickpocket it with items, and steal the boat and famous that way. But once you've gone through that whole process, then the last boat of the Stag Prince will be yours. And man, is it worth it. The base damage of the weapon is 16, just 1 point shy of the enemy bow. Plus, it has the same incredibly fast fire rate of normal blast bows at 0.65. So overall, this is a formidable shooter already. But the GBSD also has a special and somewhat cryptic enchantment that cannot be ignored. The description of it reads, quote, "We will receive an increasingly powerful blessing for every 20 animals killed by the bow." Now, you may notice, Skyrim doesn't tell you what that increasingly powerful blessing is exactly, which is kind of a big deal. Well, looking at the game's files, as well as just doing some general testing, reveals that the blessing is a +5 boost to health and stamina when the bow is equipped. For every 20 animals killed, you'll earn another 5 points, but it caps at 100 creatures slain. So, assuming you murder 100 woodland critters to death with the bow, you can get yourself up to 20 extra health and stamina points when you have it equipped, which really is something for a bow. Typically, we only see armors get those benefits. Furthermore, the name Stag Prince is an alias for Percy, Patron Prince of the Hunt. So this bow's name sort of translates to glass bow for sea. And considering that its enchantment relates to hunting, plus the fact we find it on Solstheim, setting up World of Blood with DLC, which we're seeing with the main antagonist of, all these little references to this oh-so-spooky dangerous god. Anyway, what are you waiting for? Go pick up this bow and get ready to fleece this divine being. Next on the list is not a bow, but a blade, specifically an axe. To find this one, you'll have to head over to Holden Stream Camp, a base stronghold just north of the city of Whitecross. One of the many perks about this flavor is that it will spawn on one of the bandits here, but which bandit will have it is random. So make sure after finding your way through this place, you check all of the choices. Although, more often than not, it will spawn in the inventories of one of the bandits inside the cave itself. Once you've taken the special axe from the cold, dead, and probably unwashed hands of a reader, she's all yours. Before we go any further, I should warn you. I've never said all the secret weapons featured in this video were particularly good weapons, okay? Because this axe is kind of pathetic. With a base damage of 5, it's put to shame by steel daggers. The poacher's axe does, however, come with the enchantment, the huntsman's prowess, which allows it to do a whopping 3 extra points of damage against animals. It's also worth noting that the axe has a swing speed of 1.3, making it swing just as quickly as most daggers, considerably faster than steel axes. But as mentioned, you're probably just better off using a dagger at that point. Initially, I found the poacher's axe incredibly confusing. It's an objectively bad blade, but for whatever reason, Bethesda decided to give it its own name, enchantment, and make it radiance exponent and unabandoned. However, then I began to take a closer look at Holden Street Camp, the place we physically visited to begin with, and things then started to make more sense. Indeed, the vendors at this place seem to be running a major item poaching operation. All closer to the interior, the skulls and tusks of mammoths can be found. And they even got a structure on the front in the center. It would appear the tribe has been hunting the big furry elephants for their tusks and snouts. All these bandits are illegal poachers. Hence the name, Poachers the Axe. Alas, how on earth these people have been able to bring down mammoths with axes that deal 5 points of damage is a mystery I'm still very much trying to solve for myself. Coming into the degree, this weapon is in fact among the first we get to feast our eyes upon in the entire game.
Oh, I need to high draft it. Fuck you, Pittsburgh.
Technically speaking, we get to see two of these again. Of course, the one mentioned at Hellion, and the Headless Axe, wielded by his father, Solitude's executioner, as he's delivering justice to Rodney. However, only the line of the two is payable, as the one in Hellion just sort of disappears after the headsman is killed by Hulk. So,
Yeah. Okay.
Take it from his father, either by just killing him, pickpocketing him, or due to his regular miscellaneous quest and clearing out abandoned fortress for him, which will turn a car into a potential follower. And from there, they can trade the like to you. Upon first inspection, the X-Men's axe doesn't seem like anything to write home about. Its face damage is fine at 17, making it about on par with the lower tier great swords, and selling at a value of just 15 gold, which is honestly pretty pathetic, seeing as an Iron Battle axe goes for a little more than 3 times that at 50. That all said, this object has one hidden advantage that makes it much more viable.
Holy fuck.
Range. Generally, this is an overboard stat. The Headman's axe has a range of 1.5, the absolute highest in any weapon in the entire game. So all you really need to do is walk backwards a bit when facing an enemy, swing this bad boy sporadically, and you can take it out in almost any battle, taking minimal damage. Additionally, improving the axe and its smithy, as well as just adding a few enchantments and hitting the right perks, can more than improve its damage to a much more reasonable degree, and turn the blade into a very useful option in combat. So, what are you waiting for? Take a car's oversized boogaloo and watch as bandits all across the globe come to fear the Dragonborn in your overly extended arms. Or fourth spot, just west of Cradlestone Tower, carved within a mountain, a small troll's den can be found, with 1 to 2 horrifying beasts inside who will be very hungry. Also within the den are the remains of their last few victims, including the body of a North fellow hilariously named Frothier Trollsbane. In this unlucky adventurer's inventory will be his unique warhammer, the Trollsbane. The Trollsbane is roughly identical in terms of stats to a normal steel warhammer. However, has a special enchantment that enables the object to do 15 points of burning damage when used against trolls. Much like the Poacher's Axe, Trollsbane really isn't anything special in the combat department. What earns its spot here is the item's ironic context. With this Nord calling himself Frothier Trollsbane and becoming an axe he named after himself, the man likely fancies himself a great hunter of trolls. Perhaps he envisioned one day driving the creatures to extinction, much like Roman St. Jude did to the cliff racers. But clearly, whatever Frothier's ambitions, when attacking this den, he must have just bit off way more than he could chew. And now, the trolls are biting and chewing on Frothier. Finally, last on our list is a cursed sword. A cursed sword. Yes, I am speaking of a witch here. This Ukrainian knight can be found aboard the Catalan, the personal ship of Emperor Titus II, during the Dark Brotherhood's quest, Hail Cities, when we are ordered to sneak aboard the vessel and assassinate that emperor. Wouldn't you just hand it to us here in this mission? That would be too easy, then it wouldn't be a secret. Instead, it's hidden, slightly jammed into the vessel's bowsprit, a place very few players will come to on their own commission, unless you're trying to reenact a scene from the Titanic or something. Though, for those who take the time to come up here and discover Windcheer, have they not found an amazing new toy? It at first, similar to the Headsman's axe, doesn't seem to be all that special. It bears the same appearance and base stats as a normal scimitar, but it's again in the enchantments where this item begins to shine. The game describes its enchantment as, quote, bash attacks made with this weapon have a chance of knocking enemies down. What this means in-game is that when you bash the opponent with the sword, they'll briefly be paralyzed for 0.1 seconds, which effectively just causes them to ragdoll briefly. This is already good fun to see in action, and worth quite a chuckle. Yet there's a second enchantment Windcheer has that the game doesn't reveal in its description. You see, every single time you swipe a bow with Windcheer, it has a 100% chance of causing them
Why are we not scoring?
This effectively means that so long as you keep swinging wind shear at a single enemy,
We miss Bedard so fucking bad.
you'll never be able to respond and hit back. Pretty much guaranteeing you can never lose a one-on-one fight again with this blade equipped. Like the headsman's axe, wind shear's damage isn't amazing, but we can also just take it to the grindstone and get the right purpose to get that number high. And all of a sudden, this sword becomes among the best options in the entire game. Think of the game's most difficult enemies. Giants, not a problem. Mirror, please. Ebony Warrior, oof. Saying wind shear is overpowered would be quite an understatement. Suffice to say, if you ever find yourself on another mission to kill Titus Me, definitely take the time to pick this cutlass up. You will not be sorry. And that note will be where we end today's video. 5 secret unique weapons in the Elder Scrolls.
Oh my god! Fuck! Where's the Bishop scores too? Really? Oh my fucking god!